Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeromy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeromy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Let me change this real quick. Speaker view. There we go. Welcome to 1% Tribe on this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully you're having as much fun as I have. Oh, shoot. Let me do this real quick. I challenged you all last time. I wanted to see your stick pics, your garden pictures. So I want to make sure out there, if you're out, if you want to send them via Facebook, whatever you want to do. But I am going to show you the one we're working on. So right now we've re-engineered our garden. So for a long time, let me see if I can bring this in. Let me see. Let me add this. Oh yeah, I could do that. Okay, this will be easy. Okay, so for a long time we had like an area that we had kind of quarantined off in we got like this pasture side yard that we knew we weren't going to raise, horses or anything. I'm a city kid that loves this like mini, this lifestyle of learning how to do all this farm stuff. So a lot of times we always had a garden. I grew up with one. My father, Rex and Effects, had a huge garden when I was, growing up. It just, when sports started happening, we started getting less and less of it, like, especially when he has 3 boys and all the sports and everything else. So one of the things that happens is we got good at it. Like Rachel had one with her life and everything else. So we decided to do it. Well, we make like, let's say 4 or 5 rows, but kind of short. And so this year I kept watching and I'm like, man, what if Allie's off to college and Lexi's on it, like all these things where we can experiment a little bit and see, our best easily taken care of garden where we don't have to. Before we had all these rows that, let me make sure I am on. Okay. Yeah. Before we'd have all these rows and they kind of start piling on each other. And then it was really hard to like actually work on the stuff. And so this year we went with one big long row because I had plenty of land to do it. Now, a lot of people, if you don't have the land, obviously you can't do it. But so we had this big long row and we set it up. So this is what it kind of looks like today. So hopefully it's pretty cool. So we use these cattle fences with those temporary fence poles. And then last 2 years ago when we used these things, it was glorious, especially for tomatoes, cucumbers, all those kind of things that we like to do. And one of the things that's neat is you can kind of, zip tie them or tie them up onto the cattle fence. And so, of course, the fence around there, where Rachel's from, didn't have as much deer problem as the old Michigan does. So I had to teach her, hey, you got to put a fence around this bad boy. What are you talking about? It can't be that bad. Where she's at in Canada, tons of ones don't have a lot of fencing, although I go, man, we got so many animals. They'll come eat all your stuff. And sure as nothing, our first year. The first year they tore it up pretty good. So we had a huge garden in like a different location before. And that was fantastic and fun. We reduced when the kids started getting active. But now we're trying this one row thing. And the reason is I can get the lawnmower near it. We can take care of it a little better than we were. We get weeds all over crazy town. Those kind of things. So we're hoping by this big long row, we'll actually get somewhere. Well, hopefully. But remember to send me your stick pics. Come on. I want to see them. We got the we got some cool stuff. So with that said, tonight, remember, welcome to the 1% tribe. Remember to subscribe, check it out. Make sure you're subscribing to the Prize Inside a Chiropractic Journey on Rumble, the Prize Inside a Chiropractic Journey on YouTube. Also, remember the Tribe1, TRIB1.substack.com. Tribe1.substack.com is where you'll find a newsletter, and anything we talk about, it'll have a nice little newsletter synopsis of like, what did Jeromy talk about in this section? And that's been super helpful for some of my people that have done it. They really like that part because we don't like bust it out with a bunch of emails back and forth. It's just notifications that we're on and some newsletters. Now, the cool part tonight is that I figured out how to go live. Substack.com has a new live feature where it'll actually do the video as well. So I'm trying that and I'm going to see how it turns out. That should be pretty exciting stuff. But remember, thumbs up, like, subscribe on Rumble. Any of those helps the old algorithm. I'm at 80, 20 more people, man. 20 more on the old Rumble, and I get like something special. I don't know what it is, but I do get something special. But so remember those 3 places. Now tonight, I'm a little nervous about pushing this button that I used to use in the process. So we're going to do a screen share action. And so what we're going to do, it's still our thing that we're going to do, but I've had a couple technical difficulties. We had Whole Health Weekly that I couldn't get enough streaming. Then I found out down the road the internet was a little funky. Now it looks like it's going well. Could not figure that out. But you can still do on podcast version. We're on all the major podcast places. The Prize Inside a Chiropractic Journey on those as well. So tonight is episode 3 of a very big subject that's near and dear to my heart. Remember, in chiropractic, we have the assumption, and we go by the rules of nature that says we are born with an innate intelligence within us. Each and every cell of our body is intelligent, and it can run itself in perfection, actually, if it's never interfered with. So what are the 3 interferences? Thoughts, toxins, traumas, right? So all of those things. One of the hardest ones to grasp around is the thought aspect. Now, when I met Dr. Bruce Lipton years ago, 20-something years ago, it was one of those things that epigenetics was just, a blip on the radar screen. But what we've come to figure out is that we can actually utilize our ability of thoughts and beliefs and environment to literally change our genes. And it's proven scientifically through the study of epigenetics. Okay. So tonight, if you haven't seen, we've been going into a series. Okay. So we've been a series of, this is our episode 3 of Gregg Braden and Bruce Lipton together. A little what they call Joe Dispenza. He's a doctor, chiropractor a long time ago. Now he's written a few books, done an amazing work as well. But all of these are combinations of their teachings tonight. So tonight, there's not a lot about the slideshow as much. Like I'm going to be talking, but I pulled up a lot of good videos that I want to go. This is when we start getting to the nitty gritty of like what to do, like what kind of action can we do to bring this epigenetics, changing our genes, all of those things to real life. Okay. So hopefully I do not mess this up. Wish me luck. Screen share. Yeah, it was panicking me slightly. Okay. So so I think everything should look good. I'm making sure everything's okay. Sweet. Okay. Here we go. hopefully we can do view as a slideshow. Okay, there we go. Now we're talking. Okay. So tonight is all about Gregg Braden and Bruce Lipton and how beliefs control your health and healing. This is episode 3. This is where we talk about releasing stored trauma and rewiring your beliefs and thoughts. Okay. So dang it, I'm doing this wrong. All right, here we go. So sorry, this is a little bit. So a quick recap. Bruce Lipton taught us that the cell membrane is the brain of the cell. Okay, so not the DNA, right? We've again taught that. So Bruce Lipton taught us that the cell membrane is the brain of the cell. It reads your environment, including your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. Your genes are the blueprints. Okay. So the genes are the blueprints. The perception is the contractor. So the DNA, the genetics that you hear all about, your genes, are the actual blueprints. Your beliefs and perceptions are the contractor. So remember that. Gregg Braden shows us that we live in a responsive quantum field, which is called the divine matrix, that answers the language of heartfelt emotion and belief. Tonight, we learn that the body keeps the score. Unresolved thoughts, emotions, and trauma don't just stay in your head. They create real chemical and energetic imprints that alter gene expression, inflammation, energy levels, and even physical structure. In Bruce Lipton's research, chronic stress from stored trauma flips your cells into protection mode, healing and growth shutdown. All right, so let's talk about that for a second before we keep going. So on this one, we want to make sure that you understand that the body, this innate intelligence, has 2 functional areas. You can either be a cell, so take a cell just by itself. The cell has 2 priorities: growth or protection. Okay, so and this is the various processes it does. In growth, the cell of your body, let's just use that cell, is able to grow and thrive. And think of a baby. Okay, so think of a baby in a really good environment as the perfect food, the perfect environment, happy parents, happy environment around, beautiful everything, has all the food they ever need. Okay, so that baby would then be put into a process of growth, right? So then they grow, they start learning. They don't have to worry about, all this various like stresses and trauma in the environment. So they're able to, expand their universe, expand their ability to do many things. And so that is one part where your cell can do that exact same thing. So you have growth, and then you have the only other thing a cell can be in is protection. So protection is when stress occurs. And these are 3 different ones. You can have thought stresses, toxic stresses, traumatic stresses, right? So all of these ones that are negative stresses. And so those put your cell or that baby, I'm going to use that as an example, in a different situation. Let's say you have a baby that is grown up where the food is very scarce. Family dynamic is not good. Maybe there's drugs in the house. Maybe there's smoke, from, things that illegal drugs. Maybe there's fighting all the time. All of these things create this new environment for this baby, and they become in their protective mode. And so in that protection mode, what happens? They're going to run what they say the fight or flight responses, right? The fight or flight responses, we have 2 different nervous systems, right? And the subconscious. You have this one called the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic is the one that you're resting, digesting, you're learning your environment. It's like your input system. Your sympathetic nervous system is, I don't care about the environment. I want to get away. I need to have all the protections going around to make sure that I am protected. And it's a survival mechanism, right? Getting chased by a tiger, right? It would be a sympathetic nervous system issue. Okay. So, what Bruce Lipton really says, and it's true, that a cell can be in two different phases, growth or protection. In growth, they have all these other processes this beautiful cell can do. They can learn new things, it can walk, it can do things. Think of it as a baby, right? It can start reading, it can start doing these things. Protection is finding survival mechanisms, right? Both of them are inherently in us to protect us, to give us that universal and that innate intelligence within, because of growth and protection. But what we want to do is get our bodies into this stage of growth, right? And stress in any form, and the thoughts, toxins, or trauma will put us into the actual cell, the living cell, into a different state, into this protective mechanism. Let's say high stress environment, protection. Okay. So just letting you guys know that one. Hopefully that'll make sense as we go. All right. Yeah, sorry I'm doing it this way. All right, here we go. Usually I got this slideshow thing and it's broken tonight. I don't know. All right, so we figured that out. Okay, so your subconscious so most of your subconscious is programmed from when you're born to the age 6 or 7. Subconscious is what you're learning from your environment. So think of a child. They get born, they have no experiences, they have no life experiences of this new environment. They just came from a liquid in a swimming pool all the time. There's not even gravity onto this environment, right? In a sense, they're just floating around in mom, and that's what they get. So then they come out into this new environment, and now their brain is beginning the part where they say you're tape recording your life, essentially, your subconscious programs. Now, the reason I think it's your life is because 95% of the time we run subconscious programs. Okay. That because our biology and sometimes our thoughts run the majority of the time on autopilot. Okay. These old survival programs keep broadcasting the same stress signals. Braden adds the quantum layer. Okay, so we understand that we're at these stress levels, right? So then we go into Gregg Braden's work, which is quantum field, right? A lot of your conscious, spiritual, beyond the body, right? Gregg Braden adds the quantum layer. Emotions produce neuropeptides, molecules of emotion, that store in tissues, organs, and the field around you. The heart's massive electromagnetic field, thousands of times stronger than the brain's, either amplifies healing or reinforces the old story. See how that works? So even your energies are from these subconscious programs. In my world, this is the ultimate thought interference in the 3 T's. Trauma, physical and emotional, disrupts the nervous system flow. Adjustments, chiropractic, clears the way for the new programming that can land. The good news is spontaneous healing and transformation happen when people make a profound shift in perception and release the old code. You were born knowing how to edit this. Tonight is the night we go over how to edit this. All right. So this is part of who we understood, but through teachings and all kinds of stuff, we have gotten to a point where we unlearned a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to give you an example in a minute. of that. So if you remember this guy named John I talked about, he was a police officer with low back pain, sciatica, had it terrible. We adjusted him. We got him feeling good. He comes in 3 months later. So this is a subjective to go over and rewatch. If you're not a subscriber on Rumble or YouTube yet, get over there. Prize Inside, a chiropractor's journey. Remember that. So the police officer has this happen, has that sciatic nerve leg pain. We get him better. He then walks into my office 3 to 4 months later, says it is pretty much back where it was, but I haven't done anything. Okay. So what caused it? If you remember the story from episode 1, he literally had his daughter was getting assaulted by her boyfriend several states away. And he was going to go down and take care of that. And his emotion triggered this pain in his lower back, essentially, and it caused this thought short circuit. I usually say in my office, your spine is exactly like a circuit breaker board in your basement. You overload it. You can have a toaster and a light go to the same circuit, right? Circuit breaker in your basement. But if that breaker goes, then that means the toaster and the light doesn't work correctly, right? So think about that as like an organ, or, everybody thinks that, oh, your back goes out, or, the vertebrae moves and your low back will hurt, plus, something else. Well, there's so much more to it. So not only is your back going to hurt, the circuit breaker is messed up to your digestive tract, your reproductive organs. There's a whole bunch of different aspects of that. So, but this circuit breaker, when it gets triggered, how does it get triggered? Thoughts, toxins, trauma. In a lot of your energy medicine work, a lot of people refer their back pain to anger. Okay. So there's some anger there, and it causes this back pain to occur. And that anger is pent up anger belief system that can be thought manifesting in that area. So what this feels like to him, this pain returned because it was almost like he was helpless to protect his family. And he was very angry that somebody would touch his daughter like that. But once we recognized that was there, because we had a couple ways to check for that, that was how it all started. We did a little, we check your leg measurement for inequality. And once that showed up as thoughts, I said, hey, what's going on? And that's how we got in the conversation. Okay, so let's talk about, so you remember that one, but that is a physical manifestation in real life of what can happen when thoughts literally get in your way of your genetics, your genes, your expression of each and every cell. So we have to remember that, as we go, because these are things that can happen. Physical pain happens from thought processes. Okay. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It just means it's the normal situation that actually occurs. Okay. So this is another lady I think we talked about her, but let's talk about her. So Sarah, she had years of migraines and fatigue. Chiropractic helped quite a bit, but it was very short term, but they kept coming back. And then we finally figured out, we started digging a little deeper, and we found that she had a deep subconscious pattern from childhood. She had to hold everything together or everything fell apart. Through simple release work and a little bit of tapping, which I'll show you, we rewired that belief, and her migraines became rare, energy returned, and she stepped into a new chapter. This is epigenetics in real life. These aren't really, I wouldn't call them miracles, because we see them in the chiropractic office all the time. They're biology responding to a new signal. All right. So a word of practice before we keep going. One of the things that occurs is when we start getting into this, then I said there's 3 poles. So there's thoughts, toxins, trauma, right? not every pain either is a thought problem. Okay. So a lot of people get hung up and think, oh, I can fix everything just based on this subconscious thought pattern, right? And then if you don't get better, then people start having issues because you're like, oh my gosh, it's all in my head. That is further from the truth. These are all physical manifestations. So we have to understand where they come from, not necessarily blame something on there. I've heard this a million times. Oh, every doctor I've seen, thinks it's in my head. I go, that's part one. Part one of the issue might be in your head. Who knows? It might be the contributing factor. It might not. Fake sugar, if you've been with me a lot, fake sugar might cause it. You falling off off a ladder could be the cause of it. There's a lot of different aspects, but when you put them all together and you're able to evaluate the entirety, then you can see real progress and real change on that. So, all right, let's keep going, because then it's going to get fun. I promise. Okay. So we did that. So we understand those two. I think this is the one. Okay, so let's go through this. This is the real science. Repeated stresses through thoughts and emotions strengthen these neural networks. Okay, so the more and more stresses that happen, right? So let's say you have a abusive parent and it keeps happening. The neural network keeps building and building and building, make it even harder or more difficult to get out of that. The body will then produce the matching chemistry. So let's say you have an abusive parent and they beat you all the time, right? Because we'll use that as an example, but it'll increase. You'll have a ton of cortisol. You'll have a ton of adrenaline. Your cells will adapt to this as normal because it's in your subconscious sphere, right? So most of people's high cortisol, let's say, yours is essentially normal for your body because of what you went through. Over time, this becomes your habit of being yourself. And this is from Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, which will make a lot of sense to you guys. So if you have this baby that is born into a bad environment where it has to, fight for its food, it has to, watch out because it will get beat that day from abuse, something like that. They're going to actually have different body chemistry than somebody like myself who didn't have any of those kind of things, had a great childhood in those kind of situations, but you're going to have different actual chemical makeups. You're going to have physical body changes. But that is the coolest part. Once we understand those things, then the true healing can actually happen. So Gregg Braden, through his book, if you ever want a crazy good book, it's called The Divine Matrix. So this says, the divine matrix mirrors what we claim as true through our feelings. Stored trauma disrupts coherence, keeping broadcasting limitation. The result of these type of things is chronic inflammation, fatigue, hormonal issues, pain patterns that that sometimes chiropractic alone can't fully resolve until we get this, what I call software updates, which we'll talk about. But here's the biggest part of this, the biggest truth. The moment you become conscious of the subconscious and enter the right brainwave states, you can prune old networks and grow new ones. You can send signals of safety and healing and possibility instead. I think. Yeah. All right. So this is where we stop sharing. Okay. So this is where it gets kind of fun. So here's tonight's episode. Once we've gotten through that, thoughts become things. We know that. We know that the physical part, the depths of these stored traumas and rewriting that subconscious is a big step. Now, some of these subconsciouses we have to understand. When there is stored trauma, how big is this stored trauma? Is it, somebody yelled at me in the playground? Or is it somebody that went through, like, every day they got abused, or, those kind of things, verbally, physically, whatever it is? They're going to have different body chemistry. When we have that different body chemistry, we have to give ourselves the break in understanding that the process takes some time, right? And one of the things that I always love going by is, let's say you're on this lifetime for a long time. Let's say you're in your 40s. Okay. And now I'm asking you to change your subconscious programs. You've been running the same one day after day after day for 40 years. Okay. Is it going to take, another 40 to get rid of these? Not necessarily. And that's what tonight, there's a few tools out there that I really want to talk to you guys about. And one's called EFT, which is called emotional freedom technique. One is called heart-brain coherence. And there's a few others that we'll go through tonight. And then I just want to share those with you. And we'll do a couple practice runs and see how we like them. So if you need any more information on this, let me know. And definitely hit up the authors that I'm going to get on here as well. So with that, let me see what I want to do. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. Sorry. They always do this to me. Nope, I don't want to do that. Hang on. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. This is Dr. Bruce Lipton talking about this. So let's do this first, and then we'll walk.
Or you don't pay. And if you give me 15 seconds, I'll explain exactly how this works. First, we build a tailored system around what's working in your niche, and then implement content systems for you so that all you got to do is
your earphones on at night with a program. The subconscious means conscious mind, wishes, and desires. Subconscious mind program. Well, what if you took the wishes and desires and made those programs? Then guess what? You don't even have to think about it. You will automatically, 95% of the day, be playing behaviors to manifest those wishes and desires. If you put a pair of earphones on at night with a program of what you would like to be true in your life, as soon as your conscious mind disconnects, that program is playing. It's not playing into your conscious mind. That's shut off. It's now going straight into the subconscious mind. Having a positive thought does not in any way necessitate that those positive thoughts actually manifest themselves. And there's a piece that was left out. And if you don't understand the piece, then you're shouting into the wind with your positive thoughts. Nothing's going to happen. And the fact is this: when you're having positive thoughts, you're using your mind. The mind influences biology, but there are two parts to the mind that are completely different than one another, yet they work together. We confuse them, we tie them together, and yet they represent two entities working in two different fashions. There's the conscious mind and what is called the subconscious mind. Now, here's what it's very important. People have to know this, okay? And here's what it is. The conscious mind is our creative mind that is connected to our personal identity and our spiritual selves. That makes us all unique. Each of us has our own personal conscious mind. But what becomes very significant is this: is the subconscious mind is equivalent to a tape player. It's exactly what it is. It records experiences and then plays them back. And so now let's take a look and say, well, wait, there's a thinking mind, and then there's a tape player mind. And what's different about them is very profound. When you look at the power between the conscious and subconscious is 1,000,000 times more powerful. The subconscious mind runs our biology about 95 to 99% of the time. So while you're having all these wonderful thoughts, that's not the conscious mind's not running the show. It's a subconscious mind. So blaming the subconscious mind as a negative thing that's the first mistake. It's a tape player. The programs that we got, that's the source of the problems that most of us face. And these programs could limit our abilities and take away our powers, which essentially they do. Now, the relevance about positive thinking is this. Positive thinking is a creative thought that comes from the conscious mind. Okay, so I sit here and I'm going to have all these wonderful thoughts. I'm going to close my eyes and visualize all these wonderful things. Now stop and go back to the mechanical character of it. I'm having these thoughts with a little tiny processor called the conscious mind, and I'm competing with the programs that are in the subconscious mind. So if I have a thought for being healthy or being in a good relationship, and I'm doing positive thinking, and at the same time, I've acquired programs in my development that said, you're not as healthy as you think you are, and you're not that good a person to have those kind of relationships. Then look, I'm now pitting my positive thoughts against my programs, and they're opposite. But this one works on a little tiny processor, and this processor is 1,000,000 times more powerful. So right away, it's like, who's going to win in that challenge? The answer, of course, the subconscious is going to win. Okay, but here comes the other part. While I can try to maintain positive thoughts in my life using my conscious mind, this conscious mind only operates less than 5% of the day. That says 95% or more of the day, I'm operating from the other belief system. The point is, do the math. How powerful are positive thoughts? And the answer is, unless the subconscious has the same programs and agreement as the conscious mind, power of positive thinking will not work. It will not work because you're competing against a much more powerful processor. So the idea is, when life doesn't work, when you don't find that relationship that your positive thinking was looking for, when you don't get that health that you were looking for because your positive thinking was asking for it, we have a tendency, therefore, to blame the outside world because, as far as I know, my intention was for all these wonderful things. And when I don't get it, it can't be me because I have all these wonderful positive intentions. What we didn't see was, while we were having those positive intentions, using our conscious mind for those positive intentions, the subconscious was running the show. And we didn't see that we generally sabotage and destroy or limit our own lives with behaviors that are not supporting us. Every night when you go to bed.
All right. So hopefully you guys are getting, this is pretty good. So he explains it so perfectly here, hopefully. And at any chat questions, let me know. So here, I'll let him finish up.
Just when you're just falling off into sleep, consciousness is disconnecting. The next period of your brain operation while your consciousness is disconnected is theta, which is the same brain function as in the first 7 years. So if you put a pair of earphones on at night with a program of what you would like to be true in your life, as soon as your conscious mind disconnects, that program is playing. It's not playing into your conscious mind, that's shut off. It's now going straight into the subconscious mind. So it's called auto-hypnosis. You don't need to go see a hypnotherapist. You just have to pick out what program would you like to have that you don't have. And they sell these programs at all kinds of places. Okay. So reprogramming the subconscious.
So on that, I even found it on Spotify. So if you're into audiobooks or podcasts or any music, Spotify literally has, what we're going to write down is, look up meditations or music for theta brainwaves. So theta brainwaves. So remember that. And then almost everywhere there's tons of free options. A lot of good answers, a lot of good ideas on this one simple tool. And it's something that I absolutely adore.
Just with wishes and desires means you don't even have to think about it. You will be successful because 95% of the day, your program automatically will be seeking your wishes.
Man, such a good one. The biggest thing is like understanding when you look at this stuff. So that's why when you do, in a sense, essentially you say, okay, I'm just going to think positive thoughts, 95% of the time, the thinking, the positive thought doesn't even touch your world. As soon as you start walking to your car, as soon as you start cooking for dinner, all of these things are subconsciously programmed in going to work, right? So all of these are subconsciously there. And so a lot of times, one of the biggest things and misunderstandings is this thinking positive thoughts will get you there by itself. Of course, thinking positive thoughts is a great idea in that 5% of the day, it can be really good. But until we work on the 95% of the tape recorder that started when you were a baby and went up to about 6 or 7 years old, once we start understanding those things, that is when it's going to be good. Now, with what Dr. Bruce Lipton was saying there, go on any of those things. If you have iTunes, theta brainwaves, just type in the search theta brainwaves, and you'll find so many different things you can listen to. And I would suggest, like he was suggesting, just ignite into your subconscious theta brainwaves. But the problem is, this is just Jeremy's suggestion, if 95% of our day is in theta brainwaves, then do it during the day as well. Doing it during one of those mundane tasks that maybe you're just putting noise in the background. Let's say for me, it would be, being outside, and now I wouldn't say that. I would say, doing paperwork. Let's say I'm doing paperwork at my desk, right? So that's a very benign time where a subconscious program could come in. And then instead of just sitting there listening to something I'm not really listening to, I'm going to switch mine to theta brainwaves on Spotify and then see how that goes. So there's several that you can get. And that is one of the tools that I wanted to show you tonight. So remember that. Very simple. Theta brainwaves consciousness. And you can also even work on saying, okay, what conscious thing would I like to create for myself that's better? Maybe I want to be a more positive person, a healthier person, a more successful, whatever that is, right? You can find that as a theta brainwave kind of meditation and kind of walk yourself into that moment and mode, right? So there are several out there. Once you get into those theta brainwaves, it can be fantastic. So the only other thing I recommend, don't put the earphones in, not at night. You want to, because I'm not a big EMF fan. I'd rather have you not doing that in electromagnetic frequency. But if your loved one would allow you to have a little music off to the side where you can do that from a distance, I'll forgive you. All right, so let's talk about my next one that I absolutely adore. It's called EFT. Some of you will have known it as tapping. So let me do this first. Cancel. Let me move it into. So hopefully you like that. And then where's this? Oh, yeah. This one's going to be pretty good. Let's do her first. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. I really like this lady. This lady's name is Julie Schiffman, and she shows us how to do some of the tapping. So here we go. I'm going to share. So this is EFT. Now, before we start, EFT it's called emotional freedom technique. It uses tapping mechanism. This is just me being a novice, okay? So it uses tapping protocols in acupuncture meridian points, okay? And these tappings that occur in specific areas kind of help release in this case, there's several different tapping procedures all over the body, like there is acupuncture points. These points, and this is definitely one, if you haven't subscribe and then get on here, because we're going to show you the lady's going to walk through all these different points, and you tap kind of vigorously in the certain spot. So they found with EFT, it's almost like it's easily a 30-year-old technology or thing. And I've seen it work in real time very, very effectively. And very quickly, actually, once you understand it. But it kind of locks in the subconscious aspect of things. And so I'm going to have you go through it with her, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So here, That's not what I want. All right, so let's do this. All right.
And today we are doing some tapping to help you release trauma from your body, to balance out your nervous system, to regulate your nervous system after something has happened or things that have happened in the past that have been or have felt traumatic for you. When we hold on to it and when we keep going back to it and ruminating about it and thinking about it, our nervous system gets dysregulated, and that shows up in all sorts of ways. It shows up by being hypervigilant, and it shows up by feeling stressed all the time, and it shows up with triggers and all sorts of things. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to do some tapping to help you release that from your body. And
now be a full participant in this. If you heard, all of us have a little traumatic experience that causes our nervous system to dysregulate, right? So try to do this with her, as we go, because I don't want to copyright her either. So her name's Julie Schiffman. And if you put in EFT tapping for trauma and healing, this could be a really good indicator for you.
To recognize that you have the ability to regulate your nervous system in so many ways. And one of the best ways I know how is with tapping. So what I'd like you to do here is just take a big, deep breath in. Let it go. And when you're ready, you're going to tap on the side of the hand. Even though things have happened that have been difficult or challenging. And it's been hard to find peace in this. I accept myself. And I'm open to believing that I deserve peace in my life. Even though things have happened. And it's been really hard for me to move forward. I honor all of my feelings. They're valid. I am valid. And even though it can be hard to let go and find peace in my life, I'm not sure I know how. I may wonder if I deserve to feel at peace. I'm open to being open to creating a new shift in my life and in my body. I do deserve it. And tapping through the points. Things have happened. Things that have been traumatic. Whether it's a big trauma or a little trauma.
See how she's tapping? So she's tapping with her index finger and her middle finger, and she's tapping with a decent amount of pressure, enough to get you there. And it's usually between 10 and 20 times minimum that you're going to tap before you go into the different locations. For fear of getting copyright struck, I want to just show you, but this is what tapping looks like. There's a lot more techniques out there, and a lot more different ones that you can actually do. And so don't, it's fantastic. It's EFT. You can get so many good YouTube resources. So just write down EFT in whatever subject you're looking at. So I wanted to show you that one, because a lot of times watching a pro do it is really, really cool. And you see how she was using, those the words, right? And so EFT goes through specific, all kinds of ones. That one was just trauma in your life, post-traumatic stress disorder, a lot of these things, they're all real, and they're so real. They go down to the cellular level. And that's one of the things that we have to gain, as we go. So I want to show you one more tonight. another cool process. Let me get. All right. Yeah, let's go to this one. Let me grab. Jeez. These people and their ads. I think it's getting worse with the ads or something. Okay. I was like, I don't remember YouTube having an ad every 3.5 seconds. It's very fascinating. Okay. So it's called heart coherence breathing exercises. Okay, so there's 3 tools we gave tonight. So right now is theta brainwave music or meditation, or looking that up and using essentially music, right? You have EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, which is tapping in certain acupuncture points. This will get you a really, really good start. And then tonight, and then this last one is heart coherence breathing. And so we're going to talk about that with this guy. Okay. And this is, we'll see what his channel is. I can't remember.
I'm going to be breathing in at a rate of 5.5 seconds and then breathing out using our nose at 5.5 seconds. This is a continuous breathwork exercise. This means we don't stop at the inhale or exhale. We just breathe in and we breathe out at that rhythmic rate of 5.5 seconds. Now, this is an incredibly powerful exercise because coherence breathwork allows us to use our diaphragm to pump our organs in such a way that our heart will then allow itself to get in sync with the brain. And there's all sorts of benefits. You can check out a breath cast I did with Dr. Brown. I'll link it so you can have a look at that if you want to go really into the science of what's going on here. But for those of you that just want to know a little bit, this exercise is wonderful, reducing stress, helping you get a better night's sleep and calm down and unwind and relax. So who doesn't want a little bit more of that? Just a little bit of advice before we go into the actual breathing exercise. What you don't want to do here is just completely fill the lungs and completely empty the lungs. This shouldn't be a fast breathing exercise. It's effortless. So when we're breathing in, we hear that chime. It's not about trying to fill up everything. It's just breathing in nice and gently. Breathing out nice and gently too, and just follow in sync. So it might take the first few breaths just to get used to, okay, how much air am I taking in? How much air am I taking out? So it's not about filling it up, but also not about starving yourself of air either. So you just find that nice balance. And with any great exercise, it just gets better the more you practice it. The recommendation for heart coherence breathing is around 20 minutes a day for maximum benefits. So we've designed this exercise that you can use it every day if you want. And that is it. So let's get stuck into the breathing exercise. Thank you.
I want to stop it just here for a second. As you're exhaling, I want you to go through your nose. Okay. So inhale, you can use your mouth or try to use your nose on both of these. If you remember back, I had this breathing, there was a breathing show we did where if we can do it through our nose, we're really retraining our body in the subconscious. But the idea behind heart coherence is to recalibrate us back instead of the stresses of life that get us off. Okay. And why people have flippant heartbeats, all of these things. A lot of times it's this brain heart disconnect that's there. So let's practice a little bit more and then I'll end it. But this guy's name is Mike Mahar, Mahher is his last name. And it's called Take a Deep Breath. All right. Hopefully you guys like that. That was very, very chill, man. I like that a lot. So just remember that. Breathe in, exhale, inhale, 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very smooth, back and forth. One of the reasons I wanted to bring these 3 keys is you can do it today. You can you can start changing your subconscious program today, right? With that positive belief system, we want to have the tools to get us to that positive reality, right? Like so many teach us the thought process of just, think positive thoughts, it'll always come. They're not wrong. Positive thoughts literally lead to a better outcome most of the time. But wouldn't it be awesome to change your life in such a way that the subconscious programs are aiding your conscious programs in getting to that ultimate goal? When I see people in the office that understand, like in chiropractic terms, that healing takes time, that healing, they know they're on the right path. You can feel the confidence happen. Once their thoughts and their belief system start to understand and they truly believe that they're going to heal up from this process, then I see miracles happen all the time. My job, more than just being a chiropractor and putting the bone back in place and like adjusting the spine and making sure all that's working, it's also to give you the confidence that it literally is going to happen for that person. So many different little subconscious things in our world have been told that we're not good enough to do a lot of these things. Oh, you have too much arthritis. You might as well just eat these pills every day. Oh, you have too much arthritis. We might as well get this surgery now. I mean, there's no actual process that, the amount of beat up that we do on our own physical minds in where we're at currently is mind-boggling. And the hardest part is people don't even understand they actually have a choice. We've been literally told that we don't have a choice either in any aspect of things. Think about that. So not only do they take away and they say that you're physically limited all the time, they also take away, oh, by the way, because you're physically limited, just do this, right? And that's where I really want you to just sit down, start utilizing some of these tools. I hope you guys are enjoying the Gregg Braden Bruce Lipton episodes. I am enjoying the crap out of doing them. I don't know if we'll have another episode or we'll go back to our normal flow. But this was super fun. I'd like to do one where it's just tools. And we might do that in episode 4 just to see if there's any other like tools on top of these 3, and to kind of ask, answer any questions on those. I really want you to dive into the EFT tapping. This is a really short piece of the EFT tapping that I didn't give it enough due diligence. The other 2 are pretty easy. You can find them in just, do heart coherence breathing exercises on Spotify, on iTunes, whatever, and you'll find them. If you do your theta wave app, you can do that. There's 2 right there that probably could change the way you sleep today, right? And then the EFT is the one where there's a ton of really good practitioners on YouTube that'll show you different ways of what is the tapping, how to do it, right? Very simple. It's stimulating that spot like an acupuncture needle would in that location, but it allows these different energetic points to become part of the way. I've had a person in the use the EFT quit smoking. I've literally had a person quit smoking based on the EFT. So it's a very powerful tool. It's not for everyone, but it could be for you. So I hope you guys liked it. I think that's all I got. Let me look. Yes. Just remember this, though. Consistency beats intensity. Consistency always beats intensity. The subconscious programs are programmed slowly. They have to be rewired the same way no matter what. So, this is what I wanted to do. So, the biggest thing is the recommended resources that I have for you guys tonight is here's a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Dr. Joe Dispenza. It has the meditations within it. The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. The Divine Matrix or Spontaneous Healing of a Belief by Gregg Braden. Heart Math Tools. Look up Heart Math. That's a really, really cool website. You can learn, you can be a professional yourself. And then all the emotional freedom technique resources, usually I would start on YouTube. Okay. So those are the key pieces of tonight's show. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy tomorrow. Hopefully you all have a few days off there. Memorial Day is going to be a good one. We're actually going to plant that little old garden looking one line of garden. Remember to tell me about your stick picks. And then the other piece is, remember on Wednesday night, we do Whole Health Weekly, where we go over different trends in health and healing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it tonight. If so, give me a thumbs up or like before you take off for tonight. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for making this such a fun thing. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Have a good one.